So today we're going to be, like Ben mentioned, learning about and then chanting a line from Psalm 27, which is the psalm traditionally recited during Elul. And I want to talk for a minute about the arc of the psalm. We'll sort of situate ourselves in its fuller context and then really dig in to one line. But the first half of the psalm is, quite confident. I think it's striking in a way. The way that it opens is almost bombastic of God is my strength, God is the rock of my life, whom shall I fear? um, it's like, I've got it, I'm here, God is with me, we've got it together. Don't mess with me, almost, because Hashem is on my side. But in the second half of the psalm, there's more of this voice of desperation, right? Hear me, God, when I call, answer me, redeem me. It goes on, don't deliver me into the hands of my adversaries. God, don't turn your face away from me. And then at the second to last line, we have kind of one more emotional turn. And if we could have that up to look at together, that would be excellent. So looking at the psalm, we have the words, Lule hemanti lirot batuv Adonai be'eretz chaim, of would that I had not the assurance that I would enjoy the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. That we've moved from this kind of bombastic and very confident declaration to more of the actual fear. And then here we start with this word, lule. That lule in itself, when we look at the text and we look at the letters, is actually, it has the same letters as the month of Elul. There's something about this line that in some ways seems emblematic, actually, of this spiritual posture we're leaning into during Elul. It's Lamed Vav Lamed Aleph, and Aleph Lamed Vav Lamed is Elul, and it said we have Lule. And we've translated it here as, had I not the assurance, Lule He Manti, but you could also translate it in a number of different ways. It's kind of this negative conditional, right, of, had I not believed, or even if only I believed, had I been able to believe. I apologize if you're hearing that. I'm in New York City. That's kind of my context for this psalm right now, and it may be coming through my window. But this lule, there's almost like a striving. This whole sentence is conditional, right? It ends with this ... what's going to happen next? And the psalm finishes, be confident, God is with you, take fast to God. We end with the assurance, but the line before leaves us actually striving towards and hoping for a sense of assurance that we may not have yet. And I want folks to actually take a minute and think about, we don't have to look at the psalm anymore, but just thinking about this word lule and lule he manti, had I not believed, or if only I believed. To think about what a complete faith, or rather, what a whole faith looks like. And I'm not talking about a uniform faith or an unwavering faith, but the kind of trust and connection that's multifaceted or even multivocal. The kind of trust or relationship with a higher power, with divinity, that kind of makes space for us to bring all of who we are. And I think part of that we can read in this lule is actually a little bit of doubt, or even a plea against doubt or against an encroaching cynicism. If only I believed, if I just had the assurance that I would see God's goodness while I'm still alive, that it's not kind of a post-mortem or in an olam haba, in the world to come, sort of reward, but if I could have security now, how would I feel? And so maybe in this one moment in this verse, we're actually encouraged to sort of sit in the psalmist's nervousness about God, or their doubt about God. There's some sacred envy here too, of maybe I'm seeing other people feel really confident, or I'm seeing my past self, says the psalmist at the beginning of the psalm, feeling really confident, but I'm not feeling that way now. And I think that there's a bit of that tenuousness in Elul, right? As we're sort of slowly opening our hearts, letting them crack open to our own accounting of our cheshbon nefesh, our accounting of our soul and accounting of our deeds, to thinking about the ways in which we've been harmed, the ways in which we've caused other people harm. It can also feel pretty dark and scary, as well as reassuring. And I think what is incredible is that the psalmist has made space for us here to say it's okay to name that, and it's okay to sit in it a little bit, to say this is hard and I could really use some reassurance. And I want to invite us to, once you feel like you've got it in your mouth and in your body and in your voice, to sing along with me in this nigun. That's an original nigun that I've set to the words of the second to last sign of this psalm, the second to last verse, that maybe we could sit a little bit, maybe to find this Shabbat an impermanent home, but still a sense of comfort and nechama in the not knowing, to find some sense of stability in the striving. So I'll sing through it twice as a nigun, and then we'll sing it with the words a few times. And I'll note really quickly that we translated God's name, we transliterated God's name in the graphic as Adonai, but for this tune, we're actually going to use the word Yah for God's name, which is sort of like an expansive, breath-filled name for God. So it goes like this. Ay, ay, die, 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 ay, die, die. I die, 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 die. I die, 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 I, I die, 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 die. I die, die, I, I die, die. We'll do it again as a nigun one more time. I die, 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 die. I, I die, 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 die. I die, die. I die, die, Now with the words, maybe if we could have the graphic back so we could see, folks can have the words. Lule, lule, chemanti, lule, lule. Lule, lule, chemanti, lule, lule. Lirot betuvia, lirot betuvia, lirot betuvia, beretz chaim. One more time. Lule, lule, hemanti, lule, lule. Lule, lule, hemanti, lule, lule. Lirot betuvia, lirot betuvia, lirot betuvia, beretz chaim. And may we be blessed this Shabbat to find a space of comfort, to be able to drop in a little bit and make peace and maybe integrate a little bit of that not knowing and that doubt. To know that that's a voice that our tradition says is appropriate to carry with us and to give space and name to. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much again for spending some time with me this afternoon.